Right. In the last session, we discussed about some file and directory operations like creating files, removing files, editing some file information or content, like delete and directory operations like creating directories, removing directories, moving files. So these are all some files and directory related operations, right? So in this session, we'll see security and permissions. Security and permissions. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about what are users and groups, group command, security levels, what are different levels present, means how to access your files. Okay. So if at all you want to access your files or access your directory, you need to provide your security. I mean, what are the access permissions you have to provide, means login ID and password, so on. Okay. So next to what are different kinds of permission codes for files or directory. Next to directory level permissions, file level permissions, changing the permissions. Okay. So how to change a file permission or directory permission as a owner. Next to symbolic codes, octal codes, all these permissions, what are the symbols available and how to represent these permissions in octal format. Okay. Next to changing ownership and group, how to change your ownership, means you can change from one group to another group, okay, and so on. So that we'll see. Next one, first we'll see what is users and groups. In Unix operating system, every person or everyone who logged into the system, by providing their user ID and password will be treated as one user. Will be treated as a user. Okay. So that is nothing but user. Next, what is a group? The name itself tells us that it is some collection. It is some collection. Okay. So different kind of, different users or more than one user can be present in a group. Okay. So what are all the group permissions they have? Why do we require group? Generally, if we take in a general example, within a class, a student is nothing but here user, and one class has some collection of students, that is nothing but one group. Okay, that is nothing but one group. So how these users can be recognized by the system? Users can be recognized by the system. System is nothing but your Unix operating system, by their user ID. Okay, so users can be logged into the system by using their user ID and password. So based on this user's ID, the system will recognize these many number of users are connected to this server. These many number of users are connected to this system or Unix operating system or server, whatever it may be. Okay, and these users, out of these users, these many number of users are belongs to this group and these are belongs to this group. Okay, so based on their user ID, the system will recognize the number of users connected to that particular server. Okay, so some users have, will all users have the access to all the files present in the Unix operating system? No. Based on their, every user has their level. Okay, suppose you are logged into your system and you can able to access your group files based on the permissions again. Okay, based on the permissions again. Next, as a owner, you can access all your files. You have complete rights on your files. Whatever the permissions, default permissions set, all these permissions are applied to your files. Okay, so here every user will not have all the permissions to access all the files present in the server. The reason is Unix is more secured operating system. Okay, If the user has permissions, then only they can access. Otherwise, they can't touch any other user files. Even it will restrict from reading also. Okay, sometimes you can read the files, you can see the files, but based on the permissions, okay, sometimes it will restrict some files to even for reading operation as well. Okay, fine. So but there is a user, this user can access any file, any system resource. Okay, that user is nothing but super user. That user is nothing but super user. So in Unix operating system, we have one terminology, that is super users. These super users have capability to access any system resource. The resource can be a file, or it can be a directory, or it can be a hardware device as well. Okay, so that user, we call him as a super user. Okay, suppose as a user, you are trying to create some file in some other directory, some other users directory. Okay, so you might not be having permissions to create a file in other users directory. Okay, why? Because you are normal user, you have only some limited access to the system. Okay, the limited access, suppose say as a owner you can access all your files and directories, and within your directory you can create some files. Okay, and above this one, within the group, okay, suppose if you have permissions, you can access all group files. Okay, that is the limitation of your access. Okay, so this is the normal user, but there is a super user. This user can access any user file, any user directory. Okay, so generally we call him as a DBA. Generally we call him as a DBA. So they have complete access over the system. Okay, so they have command on the system. They have capability to do all operations on the system, like changing the user permissions, changing the groups, changing the user from one group to another group, changing the ownership, like this. So they have complete access. Suppose you don't have access to one file which is required by you, okay, for some temporary purpose or for long time purpose, whatever it may be, okay, then you can ask this particular DBA or ask this particular super users to provide permission. They can do. Okay, why? Because they can access all your system resources. Okay, so that user, we call him as a super user. Generally your Unix administrators or Linux administrators or super users. Okay, and as a user, based on the permissions, you have some sudo command. So using this sudo command, sudo is nothing but like a super user. Okay, again it will ask for the access, that is nothing but password. If you are able to provide, you can do the operations in some restricted area as well. Okay, right. So this is about users. Okay, coming to groups, a group is nothing but some collection of users or set of users will be under the group. They will be categorized as a group. Why do we require groups? The reason is in real time, suppose there is one project. In under this project, not only one single person or more than one developer may work. Okay, so to access, I mean, these developers generally require some file sharing. Okay, they generally create some scripts, and other developer can access or modify the script. Okay, so then they need some resource sharing here. Okay, so that's why create one group and place all these developers under the group so that they can access all other files. I mean, whatever, whoever present in the under the group, they can share files, they can access files, they can do some operations with the files. Okay, so this is allowed. So that's why we create groups, right? So here if you observe the terminologies, one is user, group and super user. So generally DBAs are administrators or super users. So they have the maximum set of the capabilities. They have maximum. Super users have they can access every resource in the system. Okay. So next one is this group command. So what is the use of this group command? It will display the group name. Group name. Okay. Here, suppose without any parameter, if you use groups, okay, groups, it will display what are all the groups present in your system. It will display what are all the groups present in your system. If you say groups minus space, here if you specify some user name or user ID, then it will display only this particular user belongs to which group. Okay, I mean user group. Okay, it will display this particular user belongs to which group. It will display the only one user group, the specified user group name. That's it. We'll see this example. Let me open this. Right. Here, if you say groups, it will display, see here, HD user admin cd-rom sudo dip. Okay, I'll display, so these are all some users present in this system. One is HD user, next one ADM, generally this is admin. Next to CD-ROM, there is one group with the name CD-ROM. Next to sudo is the group, or it is also command to run some commands in other groups. Okay, right. Next to dip, and this is one group. These are all some groups, okay, present in your system. Suppose if you want to see there is a user HD user, we know that. Okay, if you want to see this particular user group, again we know that the user group is HD user only. It should display HD user. Why? Because see here, ls minus lrt. Here this is the group name and username, both are same, right? Group name and username are same. So here I am trying to display the user group space HD user. Okay, so here HD user is the username. We are giving to this command groups. Oh, someone is trying. Okay, fine. Press enter. This HD user belongs to all these groups. So he is present under all the groups which are present in this system. Okay. So this user, HD user, present under, what does it mean? One user may present under more than one group. One user may present under more than one group. It is exactly similar to one person may work in different projects. So he will present, suppose he is one developer is working on more than one project. So he will present in both the projects or more than one project. It means one user can present in more than one group. Okay. So this HD user present under almost all the groups present in this system. Okay. Right. Next one. So this is group command. This group command will display all groups present in the system or a user group. Okay, so what are the user groups that it will display? Okay, so next one, security levels. What do you mean by security levels? We know that Unix operating system is highly secured and it is networking operating system. Here we are using one terminology, networking. Networking means more than one connected. If more than one connected, more than one user might present. If more than one user is accessing the same system, there should be some security. Why? Because my files are present as well as other user files are present. I should secure my files, or other user files should be secured from me, right? So there should be some security. How Unix operating system is providing security? So based on the user, every user will be allotted with some login ID and or login name and password. Okay, or we can also say that it is a user ID. Okay, or group ID or user information. So by providing these information, okay, or based on the provided information, suppose if you are providing some group information or group ID, you can access to that group. If you are providing some user ID or login name, so based on your user ID, your security levels will be recognized by the system, and you can able to access only those files. What are all the files is permitted, you can access only those files. Okay, so here the security levels are by providing username, login name or user ID, password is must. Okay, so password. So generally for local systems, we don't give any password, we'll give some default password, that is without any password. But in real-time systems, you must provide password, user ID and password. Based on your user ID and password, your security levels can be defined or it can be recognized. Okay, fine. Otherwise, another security level is group level security. So to access group, you have to provide the group, or you must be in under that particular group. Okay, so another one is group ID or group name. Okay, so next one is login shell. It is similar to your login shell. Okay, by providing ID and password. Okay, so these are some security levels provided by your Unix operating system or Linux operating system. Okay, so next topic, permissions code. What are different permissions code present in Unix operating system? This permission can be a user permission or directory permission. Sorry, your file permission or directory permission. Okay, again, so permission is nothing but your file permission or directory permission. So these permissions can be identified or represented with some codes. These codes are divided into three sets of codes. First set contains your owner codes, like we have seen. See, these codes are divided into three sets. See, this is one set. It refers, one minute. Right. So here these user codes are divided into three sets or three types. One is first one is owner. These codes are divided into three set of codes. First set is your owner. This is one set. Okay. So next one is group. Next three letters. This is one set. This one is for other users. We know this, right? So here the codes are R, W, X. Three codes. Every set is having these three. Okay. But based on the characters, suppose if you take this file examples.txt, here the user, here I am saying I am using the word user, means that is owner. Okay. Fine. Now here this user has read write permission on this file, so he cannot execute the file. So next a group means other co-workers. Suppose you are saying that project is, you are working in a project and all your developers who are working in this project, assume that all these are under this group. Okay, So they all can read this file, but they can't modify the file, they can't run the file. Okay, they can only read the file. And other users means not in this group. Other users means not in this group. Other users, they can only read the file, they can't write or execute. Okay, how to change, that is different case, that we'll see later. Okay, fine. So these are the codes R, W and X. Okay, R, W and X. R means read, W means write and X means execute. Okay, next one, permission rules, we'll see. So permissions can be applied for a file or a directory. So we can apply permissions on two things. One is file and directory. Okay. Now, what are the permissions rules for directories and files? Okay, directory level permission rules and file level permission rules, that we will see one by one. Coming to first, we will see directory permission rules. See, this first letter, it represents D, it is D means it is a directory. Okay. So first we will see directory level permission rules. In directory level permission rules, anyway, three symbols will be there for each set. There are three sets: user, that is owner. Next one is okay. First one is user level permission or owner level permission set. It has three characters. Okay, those three characters can be R, W, X. Okay, so next one is group level set. Group level permissions, it has three characters set, or it can be R, W, X. And third one is other users, right? Here, if you take one directory, R means read. So here, what this particular permission will do, or what is the rule of this permission, that is read permission. So if you apply read permission on a directory, it reads the content of a directory, that's it. It reads the content of a directory. Okay, that is read permission. What is the rule of read permission? Just it will read, means when you say ls-lrt, it will read the directory content and it will show you on the screen. Okay, otherwise you will get an error message like this particular directory cannot be accessed or access denied. Okay, you will get some kind of messages like access denied. Even you are not accessed to read this directory or read this file. File we will see later. First we will discuss about directory. Okay, so in the directory, if you see the permission, that is R rule is nothing but it will read the content of directory. Next permission, that is write permission, that is W. What this W permission will do, or what is the rule of this W permission? This W permission add or delete entries in a directory using some commands. Means you can create files, you can delete files, you can move files, you can copy files. Means you can do any kind of file operations if the directory permission is W. If the directory permission is W. Okay. Next one is execute. If you have execute command, it references or moves to the directory. Means we can do some directory operations like moving directories, renaming directories. Okay, so you can execute some commands on this directory like moving directories or executing or deleting some kind of. Okay, so that is execute permission rule. Okay, so here we have three permissions. One is read permission, write permission and execute permission. So if you are applying these permissions on a directory, those rules are, if it is read permission, then you can only access the content of directory, you can only read the content of directory, that is the rule. Next one, if it is write permission, you can add or delete entries in a directory using commands. We have some commands to do this, right? So using these commands we can do all these operations on the directory if write permission is applied. Otherwise you can't do. Okay, means you can't create a file if the directory is permission is not, W permission is not there, then you cannot create any files in this directory. You cannot delete any file from this directory. Okay, fine. So next, execute references or moves to the directory. Okay, so you can refer the directory, you can move to the directory, you can delete the directory, you can copy the directory. So you can do all these things if execute, that is X, permission is applied on the directory. Now see, this user has on this particular directory desktop, the user means the owner has all the permissions, means they can create files inside the directory, they can delete files, they can move files, they can copy files, they can create some other subdirectories. Why? Because X is there. They can delete any directory or subdirectory inside this. They can change name of a directory. Okay, so why? Because execution command, permission is there. So this particular owner can do any kind of operation on this directory desktop. Now we are seeing the permissions of desktop. That's the reason I am saying that. So here this owner can do, but a group user, means other than this owner inside the group, cannot write the information. Why? Because they don't have write access. Means they cannot do any, they cannot create any files inside this, they cannot delete any files from this directory. Okay, so that is write permission. Fine. Coming to next one, that is file level permissions, almost similar to your directories only, but we'll see. Okay, again your file, hyphen is there. Hyphen means general file. Okay, normal file. If it is a character file, C. Here first letter you will see C. If it is some socket file, you will see S. If it is directory, you will see D. If it is some node files. Okay, fine. So this first letter will represent the kind of file or type of file. That file can be a, here Unix is a file system. Okay, it is a file system operating system. That's why everything will be referred in terms of files. So it can be directory is also treated as a file only. Okay, right. So now this file permissions, we'll see file permission rules. If R is applied on a file, means read permission is applied on the file, it means, or the rule is, the user can read or copy file in a directory. Read or copy file in a directory if R is applied. Next one, if W is applied, he can change or delete files, means he can do some file modification operations, as well as if the user wants, they can delete the file. They can delete the file. Next one is execute. So if the user has some executable permission, they can run this file or run this script. They can execute the script. Let us check. For time being, this command again we are going to discuss. Okay, but what are the rules we discuss, that we will check on files. Okay, first. So here I am going to change permissions of this file, like that file is test file. I am going to check on test file, test file. Okay, so here I am saying only read, and next to 400 test. Okay, so this octal number 4 is nothing but only read. Okay, so before applying this one, we'll check whether can we able to modify, add information to this file or not. Okay, right. Vi test. Here I am adding some information. Let us check, can I able to add that or not. Okay, you are adding some text to this file does not mean that you can edit this file. When you will get confirmation, after saving this information or content to the file, then only it is confirmed that this file can be edited. Okay, based on the permission again. Right. I am going to save this file W and Q. Without any error, if this executes, means this file can be edited, right? Yes. No error, I got command prompt. It means I modified, I can able to modify. The reason is, as a owner of this file, I have write access, write permission on this file. Now let us change this permission and check whether can we able to modify the file content or not. Okay, 4 is nothing but it is octal representation. For this first letter is for user, means that is owner, and second one is for group, and third one is for other users. For all other users, for group and other users, I am going to delete, I am going to remove all the permissions. 0 means no permission. That is no read, no write, no execute. Means you will get all hyphens here. Okay. And for this particular owner, and means for first 3 character set, I am giving only 4. 4 is nothing but read operation. Means anyway this owner does not have executable. So even write permission is I am going to remove. Okay. On this file test. Okay. Now run. Now see this test file permissions. Now see the test file permissions. Only owner has read permission, and group or other users, they don't have even reading. Okay, they don't have even reading. Okay, they can't read this file, they can't access this file. Right. Now as a owner, now I have only one permission, that is access, reading. Now let us check, can I able to modify this file or not? VI test. Now here I am going to add some information. Here I am getting some warning. This is warning, not error. Observe clearly. Here this is warning. Changing a read-only file. Here it wants you. You are trying to change a read-only file. Okay, fine. Anyway, let me add some information. Right, I added some information. Let me try to save this and quit from this. Okay, fine. :WQ. Now press enter. See the error. Now this is error. Warning is different, error is different. If you get some warning, still you can continue. If you violate some rules, you will get error. The difference is, warning allows you to continue, error does not allow you to continue. When you will get warning and when you will get error, when you are trying to violate the rule, then you will get warned. When you are try to run the violation, when you try to execute the violation, you will get error. Okay, so here the violation is, you are trying to modify a read-only file. Okay, so before going to modify the file, you got error, you got some warning like you are trying to modify this file, but this is read-only file. Now here I am going to affect this change. I'm going to affect this change, or I am going to do some writing in this file by executing some command. Then I got error. Okay, so what is that error? Read-only option is set. Okay, means you can't do any modifications. Okay, right? Now quit. Even if you try to quit, it will display error. Why? Why? Because some information is added to this file, but there is no confirmation on this information, like you want to save it or not. If not, use exclamatory mark. If you want to save it by specifying the commands W. Okay, but this is a read-only file, you can't save this. Okay, fine. That's why I'm going to quit using exclamatory mark. Using exclamatory mark. Now press enter. Fine. Okay, so that is the permission. These are the permission rules. We'll check one more for directory. Okay, we will check one more for directory. We checked for file, test file. Okay, so we'll check one more file permission, directory permission for this CSR. CSR is our own directory, so we are going to apply. We are going to test on this. Okay, we are going to check on this. Right. Here I am going to remove write permission for this directory. User write permission. Okay. So 5 is nothing but it is for read and execute. Read and execute. Okay. Next one, other users also same. I am saying the same. Everything is same. Okay. For owner, group, and other users, I am going to apply the same kind of permissions. That is 5, 5, 5. First 5 is for owner, second 5 is for group, and third one is for other users. 5 is nothing but read and execute. Read and execute. Okay, fine. For which this CSR directory. Now see CSR. What is there? User has read execute. Owner has read execute. Group has read execute, and others has read execute as well. Here which one is removed? Write permission is removed. What if write permission is removed? What will happen if write permission is removed? If write is removed, addition and deletion of entries, that is nothing but files, in this particular directory is restricted. Let us check whether it is restricted or not. We are going to change in this directory cd csr. Now we are in the CSR directory. Now I am going to create one sample file. The file name is level.txt. Okay, this is the file name which I am going to create. If you need confirmation before going to create, let us check whether this file is exist or not. There is no file exist with the name level.txt. There is a file that is test.txt. It is there. Okay, so it was created on June 26th. Okay, fine. Now I am going to create, after changing the permissions, I am trying to create a file inside this directory CSR. This CSR directory has only read and execute permissions for the owner, group, and other users, right? Now check vi space level.txt. Now here I am adding some information. Fine. I am going to save this WQ and now check. See here, level.txt cannot open file for writing. Press enter or type command to continue. See the error? Cannot open file for writing means you cannot create any files. You cannot create any files. You cannot create any files. Okay, so you can't create files. If you try to q, :q, will it allow you to exit from this file? Will it allow you to exit from this file with this command :q? No, because there is no confirmation on this modification, file modification. You added some text in this file. There is no confirmation. You want to save it or not? Okay. Anyway, you cannot save this file. You cannot create this file. Okay. So quit it forcibly. Q:, right? Now check, is there any file with this name level.txt? No, we can't create files inside this directory. Then you may get some doubt like, can we create directories? Okay, anyway, we are not going to create, we cannot create files because write permission is not there on this directory. So can we create directories? Let us check. We cannot create directories as well. mkdir. Here I am going to create one directory with the name ABS. Okay. See, cannot create directory ABS, permission denied. What is the permission? Write permission. So write permission is not there. So you cannot create any file, you cannot create any directory, but execute permission is there. Execute permission is there, right? Let us check. If you want, you can check. ls-lrt ... See here, csr directory has read and execute permission. Read and execute permission. What does it mean? It means, see, what is there in the csr? Test.txt. I am trying to remove this file. Let me check whether this command is going to execute or not. Removing the file is also nothing but it is a kind of file operation. This is not going to allow. So if execute permission is there, it refers or moves to the directory. You can refer the directory as well as you can move to the directory. That's it. Okay. Fine. So these are the file level and directory level permissions. So we have seen one example for file level as well as directory level permission rules. One is for one file example as well as one directory example. Okay. Right. So if at all you want to do any kind of file manipulation operations or directory operations, you must have write permission. Okay. So without write permission, you can't create files, you can't modify files, you can't delete files. Okay, you can't create directories. Okay. So these are the permission rules on directories as well as files. Okay. So next one is changing permissions. Already we have seen one or two examples on this. It is very easy how to change file permissions. But before going to see this, we must know what are octal representations. We know the symbols, right? We know the symbol, file permission symbols. We know R, W, X and three sets. First set is owner, second set is group, third set is other users. Okay, how to represent this set in octal form, that we need to know. Okay, then we can use this change mode command. We can use change mode command, but using change mode command, not only applying permissions to files and directories, you can also change user level permissions, group level permissions. User level permissions and group level permissions. This is a kind of like applying default permissions to the user. When user creates a file, these permissions will be applied default. Okay, so we'll see all those in the next session. So we'll stop here. To exit from the terminal, exit, exit. Okay, to exit from the terminal. Okay, I'll shut down it later. Okay, let me